Okay, so now we've done the shading. What we're going to do is we're going to do the highlights. We're going to use a mix of Goblin Green and Sunburst Yellow, very popular paints in the Games Workshop range, and we're basically going to follow the same methodology.
Excellent. So are these paints or inks? These are paints, aren't they?
Paints, yeah. We'll use the inks at the end to provide a unifying wash.
Okay. Something us artists don't often get.
So, I mean, it's not really, the good thing is it's not really about perfection. It's about, you know, getting it done to a reasonable standard, reasonably quickly.
A tabletop standard, that's what we're working at.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, once we're working towards showpiece standard, we're not going to be able to show really the progression of a complete end-to-end, because you'll be spending more than the amount of time that we're prepared to spend recording on it.
Yeah.
We'd only be able to show kind of very, very focused areas to concentrate on. But we'll be able to show lots and lots of them, because unlike our competitors, we have swinges of servers and bandwidth and space.
Cool. Okay, so as you can see, that is lighter. It's more yellow,
Mm-hmm.
a bit more vibrant than the base colour.
Absolutely.
So again, I'll water it down. And we're not doing any blending. We're just using a very basic layering style, because it looks just as good as blending from the 2, 3, 4 feet distance that you'll be playing at.
Well, true. I mean, you're not really going to be getting down right next to your figure whilst you're doing the painting.
Or if you are,
then probably you need to go out and get some air.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is the tops of the forms. So start on. There. We're just basically painting it.
You see, I think the mistake I and probably a lot of other people would have made would whack on the green for the arms, whack on the old tan for the coat, we'd paint the weapon silver, and we consider our model done. I mean, that's not necessarily a mistake, don't get me wrong, and there's many armies that have been done that way. But I think if we consider it in levels, that's kind of the second level of basicness for the table, and we're trying to go for a kind of, not an advanced level so much, as a good high standard for your army.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
I mean, obviously level 1 being you just sprayed it, and level 0 being you're assembling it using super glue actually at the war table.
Yeah, I mean there's...
Or blue tack.
I've heard stories of people and they've just used, the feet of a model on a base to, it's not...
Well, at that point really you may as well go back to the early 1980s games and use a hexagonal piece of cardboard.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, when we're applying these highlights, we're applying them at a bit less than the base colour.
Right.
And we're trying
You're going to be layering these highlights, you said, aren't you?
Yeah, there's no blending. So if you look up close, you'll see it'll be like striations on the model, basically. But where you think the light would go, basically the tops of the forms. So the knuckles of the fingers would show. Because that's where the skin is stretched over the bone. And I'm rushing this quite a lot.
Well, I mean, obviously don't rush it too much. You should always work within the kind of comfort zone as an artist, to a degree.
Okay, And we do the top of the thumb, because that would have the highlight on it. And again, I mean, the deltoid muscle, you can quite easily show the separations between each head. Obviously with the deltoid coming from the Latin, delta 5, there's basically 5 heads, 5 connection points where the muscle connects to the shoulders.
I see. This is the point, you see, where I nod and smile. Nod, nod, smile, smile.
We've got quite a big highlight on the top of the tricep. There's
So these are all ways really of faking light, because of course the way that light reacts to a figure that's just over an inch tall is completely different to the way that light is going to react to a creature that's supposed to be 7.5 feet tall. And so of course what rather Rob's having to do here is kind of fake what is called kind of the gathering of light, and the way that light pools around objects such as high definition muscle and clothing and the face and so on. Unfortunately for us, there's no way of doing this as an automatic process when you've got something this small, because light operates on its own scale, i.e. 1 inch is 1 inch, and you can't fool light into thinking that 1 inch is 7.5 feet.
Yes, very definitely. So it's got to be exaggerated. Okay, I would only do 2 levels of highlights on the arms, but I would go probably 3 levels on the face, because the face is a bit more delicate.
And the face is of course where we enter the point of the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Now the uncanny valley, for people who are listening, is of course the area where when you tend to look at a model you notice immediately if the eyes aren't lined up, or you notice immediately if there's something wrong with the mouth or the ears, because of course you've been trained to look at faces all your life with your eyes, and you can immediately pick out something that's wrong. So the uncanny valley kind of represents the point where we're getting close to getting it looking right, but it's not quite right enough for you to be able to notice pretty much immediately.
A very big problem in the CG industry.
It's a massive problem in the CG industry. For example, if you look at films such as Polar Express, where they spent a great deal of time and a great deal of money developing the characters they used in that very successfully. The problem with that is there's a very wooden nature to some of the characters, so while they may look to a degree quite human, you're going to have the problem that the wooden nature of the way they're animated is very much going to kind of throw your mind into the uncanny valley once again, and you will immediately see it as an automaton in a skin suit. Final Fantasy Spirits Within was a big kind of uncanny valley miscreant, unfortunately.
It was
a bloody good movie, don't get me wrong. But,
the mechanical stuff and the scenery.
Mechanical stuff was to die for, and the hair simulations were fun. Anyway, sorry, model people. Sorry, Games Workshop people. We'll get back to talking about bolters and swords and stuff. So Rob, top reads for this week.
Top reads.
Top reads.
Top reads. It's got to be the latest White Dwarf.
Now, bear in mind, people are going to be watching this sometime into the future.
This is the April 2008 issue. They it's for those that don't know, it is or was, depending on your perspective of time, the 25th anniversary of Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and they're doing some good stuff. I mean, in the White Dwarf there was a battle report on an apocalyptic scale. Total force size is 25,000 points.
That must have taken a few days to play out.
Yeah, I mean the average fantasy battle is around about 2,000 points.
So that's a large one. I mean, an average kind of small tabletop afternoon skirmish is about 500 points a person.
Yeah. So that was massive. That was very entertaining. And there's a limited edition miniature of Harry the Hammer that looks very good. It's an update of the original John Blanche cover from the first Fantasy Battle, and it's a really nice miniature, and I've got one reserved. So
nice going there, Rob. I remember I had an original White Dwarf for a while, the little model. I don't know what